Next up, we have a panel on new disruptive innovations in finance. And the person chairing the panel is Akram, a partner in AXA Strategic Ventures. He invests up to 15 million euros across North America, Europe, and Middle East and Africa. He's actually past investments include Auto One Group, Good Data, InnoGames, ex-Oxford engineer, and Imran's a bit of a smart one. He won the Engineering Leadership Award from the Royal Academy of Engineering, and it's the 15 most promising leaders in engineering. So he knows what he's talking about. And of course, the quirky fact, in South Africa, Imran trained horses to do stunts in films. It's kind of cool. So with that, the panel.
Thank you.
Oh, we need a minute. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to get everyone to get the blood pumping. We're just microphoning people up. Everyone stand up and do a stretch. Come on.
Yeah, because this
you
is
can
the
last
thing
30 minutes. And the startups. Come on, do a big stretch. Come on. You need this. Get the blood flowing. Come on. You know, do a bit of a twist. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
See, now you're ready. You can hang out for 30 more minutes. It's perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. There's
okay.
one more.
Grab a seat. And
Javier.
with that.
There's one more. Javier?
Which number are you?
With that, the panel
I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just sit.
It's coming. The chair's coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we need one more. Good point.
We need one more chair, guys. One more chair. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay.
¿Qué tal? Yo no te conocía.
Cool.
Marta, Plana.
Unai, do you want to?
Okay.
Muy bien.
Let's get this started. Imran, over to you.
Good. So for the last panel, we get to talk about everything that is most interesting and innovative going on in finance. So we've got a panel that's a mix of more established players and new companies. And perhaps if we start, maybe just a quick 15-second intro from everyone on the panel.
Javier Montes, I'm responsible for customer experience and channels in ING Spain.
Ignacio, Head of Innovation in Bankia.
Marta, Plana, co-founder and general counsel of Digital Origin, an online financial service platform founded in London 2011.
Luis Santos, Head of Innovation at Orange, yes, the telco operator. You will ask, what am I doing here?
My name is Unai Asenjo. I am the CEO and co-founder of Indexa Capital, which is the first automated investment service in Spain.
So as you see, a mix across the more mature ones and new ones. So I guess maybe the first question is, Javier, perhaps for you, given some of the things that ING has been doing, do we need startups to innovate in finance, or are the big companies doing it anyway?
Well, I think we need companies that really focus on the customer and wants to change the world, wants to challenge the status quo, and want to keep innovating and reinventing things. It doesn't matter if it is startups or more established companies, but we need to focus on customers and reinvent things, for sure.
And you guys were just announced first for Spain today or last week? Right, with the casting.
Last week we did another turn in this reinventing the banking in Spain. We launched a new service to provide cash within the shops. It's something that is very much used in UK or the States, but in Spain it's completely new. And again, thinking about the needs of our customers, we decided we need something to make easier the access to the cash. And the launch has been extremely successful. In 1 week, we have more than 100,000 downloads of the apps. And well, it's a new, exciting project and new service for the customers.
And that sort of reach, I guess, like with lots of the things going on in fintech, the reach and getting access to the customers, particularly for stuff to do with your money, is tricky, right? So I guess it's one advantage on there. But I guess we're going to have a couple of people, perhaps you, Marta, who would disagree as to whether the traditional businesses are actually really doing all that needs to be done on the innovation front there.
Well, I think they're doing a great job. I mean, I totally agree with the fact that innovation is happening and it needs to be part of what we're now living with the user experience. But fintech, from my humble opinion, is something else. Fintech is financial and technology.
Do you want to actually just take, for those who don't know, just like 10 seconds on what what Digital Origins is doing?
Digital Origin is an online financial service platform. We started in London, and now we're operating with a Bank of Spain license here in Barcelona and Madrid. We basically are an online lender company. We do microcredits, and then we specialize in credit cards, like maybe PayPal, who everybody knows now. And basically, our business is for the user to have a 24/7 experience, transparency, being very fast online, and being able to use those banks' strategies from an online perspective. So what we do is we innovate. Today I was listening to the Adams Bank CEO, and there's something that I really liked about him. He said that we're living a momentum, that we're living a disruptive moment for all of us, and that when people were riding horses, they didn't know they were going to be needing a car. So basically that's where we are. I think we're like something that's here to stay, and we're going to be developing new technology within the financial industry.
And so one other, on your front, on a fintech stage, I guess you don't usually see telcos, right?
Yeah.
Or at least not in developed markets.
Yeah, I think we are a strange body in this ecosystem. I think we are talking, and I agree, digitalization is happening in the customer experience, and is going to be the key for the next years. I think, and I can provide a different vision on the industry, looking at it from what has happened in telco. Just a reflection on this. I think we have suffered quite an erosion in some sense, if you look at it in terms of business, but on the other hand, a huge revolution, if you think on customer experience, from the innovation that over-the-top companies has provided to us. Just to put an example, we can talk about WhatsApp. We can say, okay, it has killed hundreds of millions of euros that we had in the SMS business. On the other hand, if I ask you, like customers, probably you are very happy that you have WhatsApp. I think in the fintech industry, this is going to happen. I think in that regard, probably this industry is a bit behind. We have learned a lot about it. That is why we think we can also be an agent on this. Also because obviously that the mobile digital, but the mobile will be in the core of the new digital experience in terms of banking.
And who stays on top? And what do you think? In the end, if you look at it, there's always these new waves of things coming, right? We were talking earlier, kind of if you go back 10 years ago, people were questioning, would you use your credit card online, right? And that's something that was big excitement. There was lots going on in payments. As you look forward in terms of what's coming in financial services and so on, who do you think is it that actually we're all going to end up putting our money with and trusting them with?
Good question. Difficult. I think that nobody knows, no? Who is going to win the match, no? But in my humble opinion, I think that we have enough space for everybody. I think that it's a matter of creating enough value for the customer finally, no? And who is going to create the right value for the customer? But everybody is doing or is trying to do the right value. And at the end of the film, I think that we have many people, companies doing business over the top, and it's happening, for instance, now in the telco space, For instance, is WhatsApp going to win, let's say, the battle of the messages over the top of the telecom? We don't know. He is still leading the war.
Maybe to stop being polite, and feel free not to be polite to each other. Is there any value, what's a telco now, right? Isn't that just kind of the plumbing over which lots of this other interesting stuff is going, right? Because you take exactly that. In fact, the number of calls I get these days that are WhatsApp calls, whether I want to or not, right? It pops up, and frankly, after all the billions you guys have invested in 4G, it actually works. And it's encrypted, so you don't even know, anything useful about the call.
Yeah, but it's a good example. I mean, everybody talk that the customer will be very concerned about talking is very private also. Probably it's not, you are very concerned about where your money is and what happens with your money, but you are so much concerned about when you talk to any other people who can be listening to that. Our experience is that the customer, as far as they perceive a good experience, they confide very quickly. This is very viral. We live in a society that is very viral. So once you pass through some level of customers using your services and they start to talk well about your product, it's exponential the way that this growth. I think here is going to happen something like that.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I think there's a debate between telcos and OTTs, which I think is very good. But it's kind of like resembles me where we're living now with the incumbents and the new entrants. Like there's telcos in banking. So I think that basically what we're experiencing is that we have like a telco, which is now a bank saying, well, you have and you're using our infrastructure, we have the data is money, and we don't want you using that. But at the end of the day, it's the user experience from the OTTs sometimes that are making us who we are. So I think that we have to focus on a same level playing field that allows us to compete and to be able to be part of that ecosystem that's going to make our life easier, and that it really is going to make something newer and better.
And what is the bundle that makes sense, right? Because I guess like your traditional bank or financial institution provides you, a basic thing of payments, right? That saves you carrying cash around. They will do some lending to you, and then they will take like the pot of money you've saved up, right? And Unai, maybe it makes sense to explain a little bit about what you guys are up to. Because obviously on some of the most valuable pieces of traditional financial institutions, right? It's lending, right, which you guys are chopping at, and then asset management, which you guys are going after.
Right. Indexa Capital focuses on the asset management part of the banking system. A couple of months ago, I was speaking with a director of a financial institution. They were calling the asset management as the crown jewel from the banking system. There is a lot going on in this space because in the end, asset management is going to be commoditized. That's a fact. You're not going to be able to charge a lot of money for managing clients' money. As a fact, today, from 100 euros that you pay to your asset manager, 80% goes to the distributor. That's a fact. Only 20% stays with the asset manager. This is changing dramatically because nowadays you can offer an asset management service online, and this is going to stay. So I believe that over the next years we are going to see more and more and more people entering coming into the asset management space.
How long does it take to make a difference, right? So like it's, I don't know the exact stats in Spain, right? You've obviously just started, but you take the US, it's probably $1 trillion in each of those, right? Of directly collected assets under management, probably another $1 trillion that goes through the advisors, right? And then probably another $1 trillion that's all, through banks and other pieces, right? Who are non-traditional asset managers. And if you add up like the poster children, like Betterment and Wealthfront, I don't know exactly, but I'd be astonished if collectively everyone in that market has even 10 billion.
Yeah. It is beginning, but asset management has already been disrupted. If you see an average asset manager 30 years ago, it was an active manager. Nowadays, Vanguard, for example, and iShares and all these new index managers, they have taken more than 30% of the market. This has been disrupted completely as of yet. For example, Fidelity has announced that they are going to launch a new set of index funds. Yesterday, we saw how Janus Capital and Henderson were joining together in order to have more strength. And of course, automated investment is really new, has only 5 years. But indexed management has 40 years, and it took 10 to 15 to 20 years to become big. But this is something that is going to happen. Financial advice is going to be delivered through the internet more and more and more.
Generally, and I guess also, when I think of the fintech startups, well, I guess a question for the panel, like how do you think about starting a new business in finance, right? Whether it's launching new solutions to the customers or kind of behind an established brand, a completely new vertical, right? Or as startups. Yeah. Like, does it take something different to be a startup in fintech and particularly like an entrepreneur of a startup in fintech?
I think it's really hard. Like if you ask me, we have a lot of like incumbents, as I said, that have already a big share of the market, at least in Spain, that's where we're based now. And what we see is that there's not a level playing field where we can compete with one another. So that makes things really hard.
But in which sense? Do you think it's like regulatory or like the fact that they got pots of cash or something else?
No, I think it's more like regulatory, and I think it's more about like, this is my market and you're stealing it. And that's what I've encountered with other like banks, and that's what we've actually now built a Spanish FinTech association because we feel like there are 70 FinTech associations based, startups based in Spain. And we're trying to kind of like do something
the
together.
association of the little guys.
An association, I hope we'll little guys now, but I hope like one day we'll be a little bit bigger. But definitely to be able to say something about the market. So financially, it's people are worried about their money, so it takes more because you need transparency, you need regulation, and you definitely need to have like your money secured with someone you trust. So definitely it's a little bit harder, but not impossible, so we'll get there.
It's not impossible at all. When we launched 17 years ago, ING was an unknown brand in Spain. It was 17 years ago. I think nowadays nobody can imagine Spain without ING Direct. If you have some value for the customer,
And you were
good
saying
value
at this
proposition,
point, it's something, it was like 70% of the customers who are coming to you for a loan, you already have all the information you need to make a decision on
85%, 85% of the loans,
okay.
they are already pre-approved. So it's just one click with the mobile. And this is in reality now, just extremely easy for the customer. And with this kind of experience, customers feel so well serviced that they recommend us. For instance, last year, we grew more than 200,000 customers in Spain. Again, because this is year on year. And 70% of these customers said that the main reason to come to ING was the recommendation of another customer. So once you start this, the beginning is difficult, of course, because you need to create the brand, and you need to demonstrate that you deliver on promises. But once you have done that, if you keep consistency and always trying to reinvent the value proposition, it's your own customers, the ones that are recommending other customers, and they will start to work. Now we have more than 3 million customers, and this cannot stop anymore.
I think it's possible to compete. For all of you, it's totally possible to compete. But talking about having exactly the same rules for playing in the same field is not only a matter of the regulation that we have on us is quite hard. It's quite hard. And I think that things that are happening in the market, for instance, PSD2, is going to simplify your future and complicate our. No?
That would be awesome. So if you tell me that you agree with PSD2,
No.
I'll be very happy because you just said it. And I think it's going to happen.
No,
I mean, that's what we're fighting for, right?
Yeah, to debate.
So,
No,
so this is the Payment Services Directive, right?
Payment Services
That's coming up,
Sorry,
which will basically force banks to open up.
This is quite
lots of that
similar
data.
to what happened in the past with your infrastructure. You had to open infrastructure in telco for the new players, no? But talking about PSD2, could be both. Could be both a threat or could be an opportunity. And regarding the way you think in the regulatory space, you approach the space. For us, for instance, in Bankia, it's an opportunity. And we are looking, let's say, for new businesses regarding fintech and new companies, let's say, using PSD2 to create new value.
Can I ask you something? When you say that from Bankia you're looking into fintech companies, are you looking to integrate them within you? Like,
No.
for example, BBVA
Not
bought
necessarily.
Simple, and I don't
No.
know where Simple is
No,
now.
our
Right?
approach is quite different. We are not thinking in buying companies, you see, necessarily. If we have an agreement between both the company and us, we could invest in the company, but it's not our first approach. Our first approach is to collaborate with the company, no? To create, to add, to incorporate new ideas to provide new value for the customer. No?
I'm very happy about the headline of PSP too.
you got him in public.
I mean, that I got in public headline.
No, because it's the
But,
same.
but
sorry.
it's my feeling, not probably my company's feeling today.
Now he's retracting himself.
The views are your own, understood.
But if I may add something, apart from what we are discussing, that I agree with the regulation and so on, I think when we are talking, a lot of people here in this forum are using the WhatsApp or are communicating through the mobile. Today people spend more than 3 hours per day connected to the mobile. If we think of what is called the millennial people, they don't understand the traditional banking. They don't understand it. They don't understand why they have to go to
why
a
is it
shop.
I have to go walk into
They
one of
only
those?
understand the digital experience. For me, that's going to happen because of that. Because these people are expecting something absolutely different. And I challenge very much that the established corporates, and we have suffered also in the telecom business, are able to respond at the pace that is going to be required. So there is the opportunity. The opportunity is because there are already customers demanding for a different banking relationship, a different way of doing things. Obviously, we have to solve the regulations. They create some barriers, but there are a lot of regulations also in telco. You can operate if you don't have a license.
Right.
But look at the bites that they have taken. So with an intelligent approach, very targeted on the specific products, on the specific areas of the financial services, I think the opportunities are huge.
So I think in a couple of minutes we want to have, or in a minute or so, have questions from the audience. I think some mics we're going to go.
Okay.
But just one last thing I think about, like in terms of regulation, kind of topical being from the UK at the moment, what's the right frame? Like, is it something where actually the individual national regulator is the right way to think about that? Or is it actually something where we should all be pushing for European level regulation on lots of these things?
I believe that regulation should first defend the interest of investors or for users, but it should also promote competence. Because otherwise, it is not going to be useful. If you just try to protect the customer, you are not going to promote competition. You are only going to get 3 or 4 players.
Other thoughts?
I think the same. If the regulation is quite hard, let's say, and the customer is well protected, I think we will not be able to create new business or businesses on top. No? This is the same thought. And I think that the approach that we are having now on the table is quite hard. The things that I see, the proposals that I see coming from the European Union, for instance, in terms of PSD2 or MiFID II regarding your business, are really strong. They are trying to defend the customer, but at the end of the day, they are not promoting new businesses. This is my particular opinion, no Bankia's opinion. No?
Yeah. Exactly. Legal is going to love you tomorrow. So maybe if we take some questions from the audience.
Can I say something about regulation?
Sure, yeah.
Because I think that if there's no regulation or supervision, we might not exist tomorrow. So when the market regulates itself, it's okay to not be regulated. But right now, we need either the European Union and maybe Commissioner Oettinger to see that there's a need in each member state to regulate fintechs and banking because of what we've mentioned here. And the fact that telcos, and you've been in the other side.
Suffering it.
So you've suffered that with like OTTs and WhatsApp. I think it's the only way that we'll make a proper market and that we might be speaking about fintechs again next year. Otherwise, we might not be here, and we want to have like fintechs within the market.
We're not done yet.
Absolutely agree on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So sorry, so questions? What's your question? Yeah.
No.
Hi there, Mitch Ocampo from the United States. Thank you so much for your time. So we've heard a lot today about various innovations in fintech. We've heard a little bit about blockchain and how it's challenging and creating a democratic view of currency beyond states and beyond governments. We heard from P2P and how that's challenging traditional banks. My question for you is how far do you think we are from, let's say, a cashless society? And what impact do you think that would have on the fintech world?
What?
How far are we from a cashless society?
I hope we are close to that. Cash, in my opinion, is something useless in this society that you don't need. In the past, you need cash to do the transactions, but now with the mobile, why do you need cash? I hope we are close to that.
I particularly am not sure.
In Spain is more difficult. In Spain is more difficult.
No, but I can put an example from the third world that probably can teach something to the first world. We have 14 countries in Africa where we have launched orange money. I can tell that, it's absolutely, massive usage. People receive their wages in orange money. And they prefer to pay with orange money than with cash because it's much more secure in countries where there is so much problems in society. And they use huge And it's substituting the cash in this country. And you can say it's a third world. We are talking of countries in Africa.
It's funny because it's one of those ones where actually the reach of the traditional companies starts to make sense, right? Because in the end, yeah, you need the person on the other side to take it, right? So like M-Pesa, same thing. You've got a dominant telco who can in one day put it out to like most of the population. So yeah, hopefully not far. I don't carry my cash anymore, so.
Me neither.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So I guess maybe one thing I'd find interesting is, from the panelists, what do you think is the most, I don't know whether to say interesting or innovative, but hopefully they're similar, thing you expect to see over the next 5 years in the finance space?
Okay, just starting to say I have two. For me, the most innovating thing probably is the promise of blockchain. No? Blockchain is probably one of the biggest promises I've never seen, because the money you could save in the financial system using blockchain, it finally works, is huge, really huge.
And you're deliberately saying blockchain rather than Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, I am talking about blockchain. No? Bitcoin is a currency, and probably we will see more regulated currencies in the future. For instance, an euro cryptography or euro currency or something like that. No? Probably the European Union is going to invest in how to control the money, because they need to control the money, and Bitcoin is not controlled at all, no? So far. So blockchain is, for me, is a very interesting promise. We need to solve many things, and let's say we need to create businesses. In one of the panels, in one of the previous panels, we talk about or comparing blockchain as a TCP/IP, or the very early beginning of internet. No? I think that we are exactly in the same stage. So we need to invest a lot in creating new businesses, and we will see how to create real value and eliminate intermediates in the banking system. Let's say providing huge savings.
I want unicorns. I want unicorns in Europe, and I want regulation and supervision that makes it happen, and a framework that allows us to do something disruptive and stay within the market. I think that's what I want to see in 5 years, definitely, and digital origin being there too.
I don't know. To tell you the truth, I don't know. The only thing I consider, or I'm more sure about, is that the mobile will be at the center of the banking experience. That will change also the way we interact with the banks and with third parties that today are not banks, and that will provide financial services directly to the consumers, or even consumer to consumer. I think the consumer to consumer direct financial services providing is going to explode if you put the mobile in the middle.
Yeah, what I'd like to see is that a company like Indexa Capital, that it would be easy for companies like it to open business in other European countries. Because as of now, you want to begin businesses, let's say in Belgium, France, you have to create like a new company from scratch. New funding, new regulator, new everything. And it should be nice, it would be nice to have that easier.
And that's a little bit of the question I was wondering on the regulatory front, right? Because if you look at the US, again, you've got that 3 trillion of assets under management in one broadly similar regulatory framework, right? Even if the states do slightly different things. Yeah, and so I think that's, I'd love that.
For me, I think mobile is already at the center. In our case, it's 65% of the interactions with the customer. And very much related to mobile is artificial intelligence. I think that is the next step for banking relationship, because we are an industry rich in data. With all this data and the artificial intelligence, we can make a very powerful combination for the customer. I think that is the next one.
Yeah, perfect. Good. Well, look, it's been great talking with you guys all. Thanks for being in the panel. And I think, it's a super interesting time where lots is changing in finance, and great to be with some of the guys who are changing that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.